If you decide to pay attention to social media and pay attention to all the things people are doing, all the accomplishments they are achieving, it is very easy to feel and get intimidated. But the truth is, sometimes you have to ask yourself, how did they get from point A to point B to point C to point D? And sometimes those persons had to start over and over and over again to get to where they are. The question is, how many times did they have to start over? And will they ever reveal that to the public and say, hey, I had to start this journey over? The reality check of all this is many persons, whether they decide to admit it or not, have had to start over, whether they had to start over in their finances, whether they had to start over in relationships, whether they had to start over on their journey or their walk with God. So not everything that is glitter is gold, and not everything that you see on social media is real, because you don't know how much time the person had to recharge, reset, refocus, revamp, go back to the drawing board. We only just see the best part, which is when everything is starting to work out. So let's talk about trusting the journey of starting over. So to start off, there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting over in life. As a matter of fact, it can be a positive thing, especially if it's through divine intervention, or you just have this urge to one day say, you know what, I don't like how things are going with myself. I don't like how things are playing out. I absolutely want to start over. However, when you think about starting over, you can feel a bit of frustration because you're thinking about how you probably have to start from the bottom again. Like I said, you may have to go back to the drawing board, or in some instances, you may have to go around the rosemary bush again. And I say that to say, I'll give an analogy, and I'll use me as an example, because this is something that just recently happened to me at my job. So I had to do some postings. At my job, and I had posted some invoices, had to put in the GL codes and all this good stuff. And at this point, I'm just waiting for them to get approved so that they can get paid. And the next thing I know, I received an email, and they're like, okay, we've changed up a few things, so the way that you have them posted, you may have to repost them in a different way. And in that moment, I was just like, I really, really, really don't feel like doing this over. I don't want to start this over. I already threw away the invoices because they were like consolidated. And I'm just like, bro, I really don't there has to be a way, a shortcut to do this over without me having to delete the entry, go back to square one, going back into an Excel spreadsheet and doing the whole entire process over, which means me recalculating what I did before and then reposting it and all that good stuff. I didn't feel like doing it, and I wasn't. Oh, that's Rain, by the way. I have another dog. If y'all didn't know, I have a new dog now. She's adopted. Well, she's a parking mix with something. And her name is Rain, and her middle name is Grace because she's very graceful. So yeah, I literally had to do. So y'all could see her. I literally had to do the job over. I had to do the task over, basically. And I want to use this analogy because think about school or any work or assignment that you have to do. Sometimes you may start it and then you realize you're doing it wrong. Or you would have started it, and right when you're almost done, someone may say, hey, we have to do it this way instead. Or, the way you did it was correct. However, we changed up a few things, right? And I love her. And sometimes you don't be on that run. Sometimes you don't be interested in being like, I don't want to have to do it over. And then sometimes, like I said, you may try to find a cheat code and a cheat way to say, okay, I'm going to do it this way, so I don't have to go through the long process. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes when you have to do an assignment over, you have to do your homework over, you may have to do a project over, or as for me, I had to do the entries over. Sometimes it's better to start fresh and start on a clean slate and literally get it done correct the second time go round. But this time, do it correctly. Take your time so you won't have to do it again for a second time or a third time. And it's funny that I'm saying this because when I had to do the entries over, for every invoice I had to do over, even though I still have more to do because there was a bunch of them. So that kind of had me feeling overwhelmed. And that's another thing. You can get overwhelmed with having to start over. But for each invoice I had to do over, I went to my director, whatever. I said, hey, I need you to look at that entry. Please tell me that's how you want it done. And I would sit with him. He would say, okay, yeah, this is correct. Okay, let's change the description, yada, yada, yada. So I wanted to use that analogy before I really get into the meat of all of this. In full transparency, I had to start over. And I felt like I had to start over in just about every aspect, or just about every aspect in my journey, in my process, in my life. I don't want to get into the full details of how I had to start over, but just know I had to start over in just about everything. So for example, I had to start over in my finances. Even with my career, I kind of had to start. She peeing on the camera. I had to start over with my career. I had to start over with, there are a few other things I had to start over with. I can't speak on it now because it's not time. I have not been released by God to say what those other things were. But I had to start over. And the best part is when and I hit rock bottom too. I did hit rock bottom as well. But the best part about hitting rock bottom and starting over is I had a clean slate. And this time with me doing it, I did it with God by my side. And I'm still grateful for the opportunity of me starting over, because it was almost like me getting a second chance, and a second chance to do it right, and a second chance to, if things that happened in the past I see starting to happen again, to see if I learned a lesson, I kind of can put a pause to myself and be like, hold on, remember what happened last time? What can you do differently this time? I know for a lot of us, age can play a big part. But I am starting to believe really and truly that old folks' tale, when they say age is nothing but a number, it's the truth. Like, try not to pay attention to your age. I remember me and my friend, we were talking about it one day, and I started to be like, but I feel like I should be like at this point now, and this thing and that. And she's like, listen, you are still in your 20s. You have nothing but time on your side. And when I sat down, I thought about it. I said, you know what, you're right. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how young you are, and it doesn't matter how old you are. If you have to start over, start over. If you have to start your business over, start your business over. If you want to start over by going back to school, go back to school. If you have to start over, even if it means with relationships, and you just got over a bad breakup, and now you feel like you got to go back around the table again of what's your favorite color. Are you a man of God? Are you a woman of God? What church do you go to? What's your favorite food? What's your favorite restaurant? What do you like to do in your free time? If that means you having to do it again, do it again. But take your time. Don't rush. Have God by your side. Because remember, like I said earlier, like when I had to do my work over, or I had to do my entries over, like I had to take my time. As overwhelmed as I felt and frustrated as I felt, when I did it over the correct way and with my director by my side. So what does that tell you? When you do it over and when you're starting over, do it with God on your side. Let him be a lamp to your feet and a light to your path. Allow him to be that guiding light to do whatever it is that you have to do. Do not let fear and pride get in the way of you starting over, because if you're going to be prideful, don't be prideful with yourself, because you're only hurting yourself in the end. And that's just the fact. That's just the truth of the matter. Like, honestly and truly. And don't be afraid don't be afraid, because the best part about starting over is, and I'm going to speak from experience, what I found with me with starting over is it humbles me even more. I feel like I'm a very humble person, but one, it humbles me more. And two, with me starting over, like I said, it's a clean slate. Like, you starting over with a blank page, a blank piece of paper. You know, it's almost like hitting the reset button. And sometimes that's what we need to get where we need to go, especially if you feel like it's God's doing and it's not really your doing, but it's God's doing. Sometimes that is God's way of saying, listen, I already see the path you was going, and that's not the path I had for you. And I can already see the damage that was going to already be done. So let me just pull you back. Let me reel you in a little bit. And then let me push you back forward in the right way that you need to go. And truth be told, I truly believe that as you start over, everything will begin to restore itself. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to get back exactly what you lost the first time. Sometimes you may get it back, but it may not come the same way. It may not be the exact same thing, but you're going to find that you're going to be restored in a different way. And I'll say it like this, because a lot of people still don't know. And for those who do not know, then cool. You guys knew back in September, I would have left my job at a resort and I went to another job. And I'm now back at the same job that I left in September. I am now back there. And to be honest with you, I was restored, because though I'm now back at my old job again, I'm not in the same department. I'm not under the same supervisors. I'm not really I'm under the same people, but I'm not under the same people. But I'm in a different department, and I'm in a different position. So you see how God works? You see how God is do things sometimes? Like in your career or in you restoring, He restored to me my old job. But in Him restoring me my old job, He restored me with a different position. And with a different position, even though money isn't everything, it's a tad bit better. I don't want to get too much into it, because I'm not trying to get no problems, and I don't care for no one to think that they could share this video and only share a certain clip and be like, oh, she's talking back, because that's not the case and that's not what I'm doing. But yes, but I want to say this, we may make plans, but the Lord determines our steps. So maybe we may have plans to take the East Highway, and we may need to take the North Highway. We may want to take the North Highway, and God may want us to take the West Highway. Just saying. So with all this being said, I don't want you to feel afraid. I don't want you to feel nervous. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed or pressured. And of course, I am speaking to myself when I say this as well. I just want you to know that it's okay, and everything is going to be okay. As you start over, things will realign and things will be restored. Just remember to do it with God. You may lose friends, you may lose relationships, you may gain new friends, you may gain better relationships. Just take comfort in knowing for the 1000th time that everything will be restored. Be still and all will be well. Everything will be well. And for those of you who are probably starting over, even with relationships, whether it's a friendship or a romance, or you're someone who, even if you're someone who is going through a divorce, or you've already been divorced and now you feel like you got to start over because you're now in the dating pool again, and you feel like nothing is out there because the dating pool is full of pee and poop and all that good stuff, and anything, even when it comes to friendships, because the loyalty ain't there no more, Papa. Like, loyalty really ain't there for a lot of people. But just pray about it. Pray about starting over. Pray about that new relationship. If you are someone who is divorced, if you're someone who is divorced, or someone who's in a long-term relationship, or You lost a lot of friends. Pray about it and tell God, hey, listen up, daddy-o. The next person who comes into my life, whether it's a friend or whatever the case, please let them be someone who puts you first. Please let them be someone who is compassionate and who is loving, who is caring, or who is loyal, whatever the case may be. When it comes to your career, pray about it. When it comes to anything, when it comes to starting over, whatever you do, please just pray about it and just walk with the Lord. I take it from me, from someone who is now starting over and who had to start over and who is now doing it with God, who had to put all her pride aside, who literally was afraid at first and had to listen to the still voice of the Lord and said, I am restoring everything to you. You do not need to be afraid. You do not need to be overwhelmed because I am with you. And to be honest, once I released all of that pride and being afraid, to be honest, I actually have been seeing God move. I've been seeing his hand. Even if I felt like he wasn't there, I have been seeing him in ways that I didn't realize that he would have been there. So if I ever fix my mouth to say like, God ain't there, he ain't walking with me, I'm delulu now. I'm delusional. So, yeah, that's about it, I think. So guys, this is the end of the video. I'm starting to sweat. The sun is beaming on me, and I know I have a tan, but I just want you to remember these three things. Embrace the process, focus on your journey, and take things one step at a time. Overcome the spirit of fear and pride. It's never too late to start fresh. Let go of the fear and pride and don't worry about others' opinions. Third, and most importantly, include God in every step. Invite God into every aspect of your journey. His guidance will illuminate your path, and what comes next may be even better than before. Be still and know that all will be well. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you all next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment into this video. Let me know in the comments, like, have you had to start over? How you felt about starting over? Were you afraid to start over? And how is your journey going? I love you guys, and I will see you all next time. Bye!